When food safety is mentioned, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Clean water, good food, or a terrible accident, a bad memory? So our question is, what does food safety usually include when we talk about it? Some people have an idea of what food safety encompasses in the kitchen.
What I'm looking for when I walk into a kitchen is, what are the people doing? Are they washing their hands? I'm looking to see if their heads are covered, make sure hair doesn't get into your soup. I'm looking at the walls, looking at the floor, looking at the ceiling to see how everything is kept up to standards. And I need to go wash my hands. That's the second thing I do. Of course, I'm multitasking while I'm washing my hands because I want to make sure the water gets hot. And this also tells me people have used this sink recently because it got hot pretty quick. With that done, now I go point by point, go to different sections of the kitchen. I'm looking for things like cook temperature of the food, especially raw meats. I'm looking to make sure things that can go bad, that they are held cold or held hot. I'll do an interview with the store manager to see about food safety training of the staff. And then I'll sit down and write a report. Okay, this is where they're cleaning the dishes up and they're using a mechanical dishwasher. We like to see that on this type of machine, the minimum temperature during the wash cycle needs to be 120 degrees Fahrenheit. We're in a food storage area now. We have a walk-in cooler. What I'm looking for in here is proper labeling and evidence of improper cooling. I'm also looking for date labeling. What is the product? If it's a ready-to-eat food, it needs to have a date on it.
And our answer, here it is. Hello everyone, welcome to Food Safety Program. In this program we will introduce and telling you the knowledge of food safety. Hope that this program will benefit you. Concepts related to food safety. Food hygiene, all conditions and measures taken to prevent contamination of food and harmful elements endangering human health. While food safety is for the final product, food hygiene is for the process of producing food and is some of the measures taken to ensure food safety. It should be ensured that the food does not contain harmful toxic chemicals or organisms, bacteria, viruses, parasites, etc. that could damage or threaten human health and avoid the risk of causing foodborne illness to consumers. The World Health Organization's definition of food safety covers two aspects. One is toxic and harmful substances. The second is that it has an effect on human health. Only when both of these factors are present can a food safety problem be said to have occurred. There is no absolute food safety, only relative food safety, and even normal food ingredients and nutrients can create safety problems when used inappropriately. 8 myths about food safety. 1. Food safety is 100% safe. There is no 100% safe food in the world, and food safety problems happen all the time. Companies and scientists can only reduce the risk to a certain level. 2. Cancer from eating food containing carcinogenic substances. It is only when the substance is consumed for a long period of time that it may cause harm to the organism. Occasional small intakes are generally not harmful to the organism. 3. Substandard food is not the same as harmful drugs. There may be a link between substandard food and unsafe food, but the two cannot be equated. For example, failure of non-safety indicators in substandard food does not cause food safety problems. For example, a steamed bun with lemon yellow is a substandard food, but it is not harmful to health and is not really a toxic food. 4. Unsafe to consume food containing artificial food additives. The use of food additives is mainly in the process of food production and processing. As long as they are used in strict accordance with national standards, they are not harmful to the body if they do not exceed the scope and dosage. 5. Natural foods are better for your health. Poisonous mushrooms contain deadly toxic substances, puffer fish bile and blood contain lethal tetrodotoxin. Sprouted potatoes produce lobotomine in the eye of the sprout, which can cause food poisoning, and undercooked lentils can cause food poisoning. 6. The use of pesticides and fertilizers unnecessarily poses a threat to the safety of food. The scientific, rational and legal use of pesticides and fertilizers is the result of modern agricultural technology and is a prerequisite for ensuring the quality and quantity of agricultural products without causing food insecurity. The consensus of experts from the World Health Organization is that every pesticide should be subject to a rigorous safety evaluation. 7. The brighter the color of the food, the safer it is. Kelp is best when it is processed neatly and cleanly without mold and does not feel sticky to the touch. If the color is too bright or the water has a different color after washing the kelp, you should stop eating it. 8. Focus on chemical contamination, ignore foodborne illness. Among food contamination, one is poisoning from collective meals caused by contaminated or spoiled raw materials, improper storage and processing of raw materials. Fukushima snail incident. The second is the outbreak of diseases caused by Salmonella and Vibrio parahemolyticus, contaminated meat and meat products, aquatic products, etc. The state of food safety. The current state of food safety is worrying. The extensive use of highly toxic pesticides and veterinary drugs, the misuse and abuse of additives, the presence of various industrial and environmental pollutants, the contamination by harmful elements, microorganisms and various pathogens, the recurrence of harmful organisms and epidemics, and the negative effects of the application of biotechnology and new food technologies and techniques. 1. The scope of problematic foods is becoming wider and wider, with problematic foods ranging from traditional staple foods such as cereals, oils, meat, poultry, eggs, vegetables, soy products and aquatic products to fruits, tobacco, alcohol, dried foods, dairy products and fried foods. Vegetables, soybean products, aquatic products and other traditional staple foods, to fruits, tobacco and alcohol, dried foods, dairy products, fried foods and other foods, showing an all-round trend. 2. The hazards of problem food are becoming more and more serious, moving from the external hygiene hazards of food to the internal physical, chemical and even biological hazards of food. 3. The methods used to produce counterfeit, substandard and toxic foods are diversified, organized and highly technical. In 2011, vegetables in northern Germany were contaminated with E. coli with the scientific name O104H4 and more than 4,000 people were infected with symptoms including blood in the stool and hemolytic uremic syndrome, which can lead to kidney failure in severe cases. Some 50 people died. There are indications that bean sprouts from a farm in Lower Saxony contributed to the widespread food contamination. Typical examples of food safety. In 2011, vegetables in northern Germany were contaminated with E. coli with the scientific name O104H4 and more than 4,000 people were infected with symptoms including blood in the stool and hemolytic uremic syndrome, which can lead to kidney failure in severe cases. Some 50 people died. There are indications that bean sprouts from a farm in Lower Saxony contributed to the widespread food contamination. In June 2004, the rubbish dumpling controversy broke out in South Korea when the Korea Police Service announced that several illegal food ingredient companies had made fillings out of radish scraps that should have been discarded as garbage, and then handed them over to 11 companies that knew about them. In June 2004, the Korea Police Service announced that several illegal food ingredient companies had made fillings from radish scraps that should have been discarded as rubbish, and then handed them over to 11 known food companies for mass production and sale of frozen dumplings and buns. The police announced that several unscrupulous food ingredient companies had made fillings out of radish scraps that should have been discarded as garbage, and then handed them over to 11 well-known food companies to mass produce and sell frozen dumplings and buns. On February 19, 2009, a malignant poisoning incident involving lean meat extract occurred in Guangzhou, China. As of 10 a.m. on the 20th, a total of 21 suspected cases of lean meat extract poisoning had been reported in Guangzhou, with a total of 67 people suffering from the disease, an increase of 10 cases and 21 patients compared to the previous day's report. In August 2013, whey protein concentrate produced at New Zealand dairy giant Fonterra's plants was found to contain possible botulinum toxin. Although the New Zealand Ministry of Primary Industries announced shortly afterwards that they had repeatedly retested the product and found no Clostridium botulinum, which is not normally a food safety concern, the incident led to the withdrawal and recall of infant formula and beverages made from these whey protein powders from overseas markets. Food hazards. The hazards in food are divided into biological hazards, chemical hazards and physical hazards. Biological hazards mainly refer to the hazards caused by bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Chemical hazards refer to natural toxins, intentionally, unintentionally or accidentally. Chemicals, physical hazards mainly refer to hazards from fields, processing, improper storage and malicious damage. Biological hazards mainly refer to the hazards caused by bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Bacteria are divided into spore formation and non-spore forming. Viruses such as hepatitis virus, parasites such as pork tapeworm. Chemical hazards refer to natural toxins, intentionally unintentionally or accidentally added chemicals, natural toxins such as mycotoxins, marine biotoxins, mushroom toxins, alkaloids and histamines, intentionally added toxins such as food additives, preservatives and nutritional additives, unintentional or accidental addition of toxins such as agricultural chemicals, cleaning chemicals and protective chemicals. Physical hazards mainly refer to the hazards caused by processing, malicious addition and other hazards. The hazards of processing mainly come from the field or farming environment, improper processing or storage, and hazards introduced during transportation. Others such as magnesium ammonium phosphate. Causes of food safety problems. 1. Human cognitive ability. Human beings are always in the process of understanding the things around them, so food safety is always non-zero risk. 2. Technical standards. Laws, regulations and technical standards are perfected after problems occur, and it is difficult to prevent them in advance, which makes technical requirements and laws and regulations often lag behind. 3. The impact of economic globalization. Plant cultivation, primary processing of raw materials, production of final products, as well as transportation, warehousing, and sales are more and more completed in different countries or regions, making the distance of food from farmland to dining table longer and longer. In the absence of a sound traceability system, it is difficult to find the real perpetrator when food safety problems arise. This also allows some criminals to find opportunities to use shoddy products and cheat. 4. Characteristics of food production. The microbial and chemical contents in the final food products are tested by destructive testing methods, that is, the tested products can no longer be sold as normal products, so they can only be tested by sampling. Food safety determination is to test small batches of samples in the most reasonable way possible to achieve the purpose of safety verification of large batches of finished products. Any method of verifying an entire batch with sample results involves sampling risks. 5. Socioeconomics. Analysis of food safety from the perspective of socioeconomics. Food safety is safe food that consumers can afford. Because eating enough and eating well enough to eat healthily requires the guarantee of an economic foundation. This creates an opportunity for operators who produce low-priced but unsafe food to enter the market. Through complex and diverse channels, such unsafe food may also enter the normal market, leaving consumers with financial strength who can afford safe food no choice. Food production is an industry with the lowest market access. 6. Regulatory responsibilities are not clear. Food safety supervision adopts a supervision mode in which the Departments of Health, Industry and Commerce, Food and Drug Supervision, and Agriculture are the mainstay, supplemented by variety supervision. In daily supervision, it is difficult to form a joint force, and there are blind spots and vacuum areas in food safety supervision in many places. The seemingly huge supervision system often fails to produce the optimal monitoring effect. 7. Consumer demand has increased. From eating well to eating healthy, people's requirements for food have undergone a qualitative mutation, which is also a concrete manifestation of the demand from quantity to quality. 8. Lack of moral integrity. Food enterprises are ethical enterprises and conscience projects. The quality of food is in the hands of the enterprises. Judging from the food safety incidents exposed in recent years, most of them are caused by the lack of conscience of practitioners. 9. Low market entry barriers. Although the country has established the QS market access system, it can only manage some enterprises, most of which cannot be regulated. Even with QS, it cannot guarantee that these enterprises are law-abiding, and the exposed ones are all so-called regular enterprises. Common sense of food safety. The World Health Organization's list of the best foods. Best fruits: papaya, strawberry, orange, mandarin, kiwi, mango, apricot, persimmon, watermelon. Best vegetables: sweet potatoes, asparagus, cabbage, cauliflower, celery, eggplant, beets, carrots, shepherd's purse, enoki mushrooms, snow red, Chinese cabbage. Best meat: goose, duck, chicken. Best brain food: spinach, leeks, squash, green onions, broccoli, peppers, peas, tomatoes, carrots, small greens, garlic sprouts, celery and other vegetables, brown rice, walnuts, peanuts, pistachios, cashews, pine nuts, almond shells. Best soup food: chicken soup is especially suitable for drinking in winter and spring. Best cooking oil: corn oil, rice bran oil, sesame oil, vegetable oil and animal oil in proportion. Frozen food options. Precautions for purchase. 1. The products produced by big manufacturers or famous brands should be the first choice. 2. To choose the nearest store with a low-temperature freezer to buy. 3. To choose a product with a well-packaged, clear label, and a clear shelf life. 4. It depends on whether the product in the package is of natural color. If there are spots or discoloration, it has deteriorated. 5. Pay attention to whether there is thawing phenomenon. Good frozen food should be hard. 6. Frozen food should be taken at the end of each purchase, so as not to leave the freezer for too long. Precautions for storing food. 1. Do not store frozen food in the refrigerator freezer. 2. Do not put the packaged or unpacked quick frozen food directly into the freezer. A plastic bag must be added to the package and the bag mouth should be fastened to avoid drying of the product or oxidation of oil. 3. Do not refreeze thawed food. 4. Do not overfill the freezer, which will affect the indoor air conditioning convection. 5. Do not store frozen food for too long. Counterfeit and shoddy food prevention. 1. Prevent the appearance from being too bright. 2. Prevent abnormal, white color. 3. Prevent the shelf life from being too long. 4. Prevent anti-seasonal food. 5. Prevent small workshop enterprises. 6. Prevent low prices from being fascinated. 6. Prevent loose food. How to eat properly. 1. Diverse food, mainly cereals, with a combination of thickness and thickness. A variety of foods should include the following 5 categories. The first category is cereals and potatoes. Cereals include rice, noodles, grains, etc., and potatoes include potatoes, sweet potatoes, cassava, etc., which mainly provide carbohydrates, protein, dietary fiber, and B vitamins. The second category is animal food, including meat, poultry, fish, milk, eggs, etc., mainly providing protein, fat, minerals, vitamin A and B vitamins. The third category is beans and their products, including soybeans and other dry beans, which mainly provide protein, fat, dietary fiber, minerals and B vitamins. The fourth category is vegetables and fruits, including fresh beans, rhizomes, leafy vegetables, solanaceous fruits, etc., which mainly provide dietary fiber, minerals, vitamin C and carotene. The fifth category is pure energy food, including animal and vegetable oil, starch, edible sugar and alcohol, which mainly provide energy. Vegetable oils also provide vitamin E and essential fats. 2. Eat more vegetables, fruits and potatoes. Vegetables and fruits are rich in vitamins, minerals and dietary fiber. There are many kinds of vegetables, including plant leaves, stems, flower moss, nightshade, fresh beans, edible mushrooms, etc. Different varieties contain different nutrients. Even the disparity is very large. The vitamin content of dark vegetables such as red, yellow and green exceeds that of light-colored vegetables and ordinary fruits. They are carotene, vitamin B2, vitamin C and folic acid, minerals, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, iron, a major or important source of dietary fiber and natural antioxidants. Wild fruits such as kiwi fruit, prickly pear, sea buckthorn and black currant developed in my country this year are also rich sources of vitamin C and carotene. 3. Eat milk, beans, or their products every day. In addition to being rich in high-quality protein and vitamins, milk has a high calcium content and a high utilization rate. It is an excellent source of natural calcium. The dietary calcium provided by Chinese residents is generally low, only reaching about half of the recommended supply on average. There are also more patients with rickets in infants and young children in my country, which may be related to the lack of dietary calcium. A large number of studies have shown that calcium supplementation for children and adolescents can increase their bone density, thereby delaying the rate of bone loss. It is recommended that each person drink 300 g of milk per day and consume 30-50 g of soybeans or an equivalent amount of soy products. 4. Eat appropriate amount of fish, poultry, eggs and lean meat. Animal foods such as fish, poultry, eggs, and lean meat are good sources of high-quality protein, lipids, fat-soluble vitamins and minerals, and are an important part of a balanced diet. The amino acid composition of animal protein is more suitable for human needs, and the content of lysine and methionine is high. It is beneficial to supplement the deficiency of lysine in vegetable protein when used in combination with cereals or beans. Animal liver is extremely rich in vitamin A, but also rich in vitamin B12, folic acid and so on. Recommended daily intake for adults: 50-100 g of fish and shrimp, 50-75 g of livestock and poultry meat, and 25-50 g of eggs. 5. Reduce the amount of cooking oil and eat light and low-salt meals. Excessive intake of fat is one of the risk factors for many chronic diseases such as obesity, hyperlipidemia, and atherosclerosis. High dietary salt intake is closely associated with the prevalence of hypertension. Therefore, it is recommended to develop the habit of eating a light and low-salt diet, that is, not too greasy, not too salty, not too much animal food and fried, smoked, pickled food. It is recommended that the amount of cooking oil per person per day should not exceed 25 or 30 g, and the salt intake should not exceed 6 g, including the amount of salt in soy sauce, pickles and sauces. 6. Do not eat too much, exercise every day, and maintain a healthy weight. Food intake and physical activity are the two main factors in weight loss. Food provides the body with energy, and physical activity consumes energy. If the food intake is too large and the activity is insufficient, the excess energy will be accumulated in the body in the form of fat, that is, the body will gain weight and gain weight for a long time. On the contrary, if the food intake is insufficient and the labor or exercise is too large, it may cause weight loss due to insufficient energy, resulting in labor capacity decline. so people need to maintain a balance between food intake and energy consumption. 7. The distribution of 3 meals should be reasonable, and snacks should be appropriate. Regular and quantitative meals, generally the ratio of breakfast, lunch, dinner is 3 to 4 to 3, eat breakfast every day and ensure adequate nutrition, eat a good lunch, and dinner in moderation, do not overeating. Snacks can be used reasonably as a nutritional supplement in addition to 3 meals a day, but the energy from snacks should be included in the energy intake throughout the day. 8. Drink enough water every day and choose beverages reasonably. Insufficient or excessive drinking water will bring harm to human health. Drinking water should be taken in small amounts and several times. Be proactive and do not drink water when you feel thirsty. Generally speaking, healthy adults need about 2,500 milliliters of water per day. In mild climate conditions, adults who live with light physical interaction should drink at least 1,200 milliliters, about 6 cups, of water per day. 9. Drinking should be limited. People tend to drink alcohol on holidays, festive and social occasions. High alcohol is high in energy and contains no other nutrients. Uncontrolled drinking will reduce appetite and food intake, resulting in a variety of nutrient deficiencies, and in severe cases, alcoholic liver cirrhosis. Excessive drinking can increase the risk of high blood pressure, stroke, etc., and can lead to an increase in accidents and violence, which is harmful to personal health and social stability. Alcohol abuse should be strictly prohibited. If drinking alcohol, low-alcohol alcohol can be consumed in small amounts. Teenagers should not drink alcohol.